No doubt. I mean, listen, we're celebrating here. There's going to be peace in the Middle East. It's an amazing day. We're going to be covering this all morning long. The hostages returning back to their families, the bodies of hostages, so their families can finally give them a dignified burial. And then people returning back to their homes, what's left of them in Gaza.
Split screen right there.
This is an amazing
of two live views, one of Tel Aviv and one in Gaza, live 3:02 in the afternoon there, and all the activity on the right, that would have been completely just smoldering rubble with nobody walking around a week ago.
It's the will to live and the will to live in peace, and it's just a remarkable... Donald Trump is just the most remarkable figure. This would not have happened without him.
Well, and with that, let's go to Steve Harrigan. Thousands of Israelis celebrating this morning while the people of Gaza start making their way home as President Trump is set to visit the region today to cement the historic ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas.
Steve Harrigan is live in Tel Aviv with those details. Hey, Steve.
That's right. The Trump team already on the ground here. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, as well as Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, having some emotional meetings with family members of some of the hostages. Then they addressed a massive crowd out in Hostages Square in Tel Aviv overnight. More than 100,000 people coming out to hear Witkoff say that this agreement is basically a miracle and an act of courage.
Tonight, we celebrate something extraordinary, a moment that many thought was impossible. Yet here we stand, living proof that when courage meets conviction, miracles can happen. A peace born not out of politics, but out of courage. You've prayed, you've persevered, and you've shown the world that peace is not weakness.
There's been a lot of speculation about when the 20 living hostages could be released by Hamas. Right now, Israeli officials say they still expect that to happen on Monday, but they are monitoring all developments. We could see some truly emotional reunions between family members and hostages who have now been held for more than 2 years.
Today, we stand at a pivotal moment. A deal is on the table. We finally feel hope. But we cannot and would not stop now. Every single hostage must come home, the living and the deceased.
With the ceasefire in effect, a lot of Palestinians began to make their way home, many of them walking north towards Gaza City. A truly devastated landscape after 2 years of war. But that Rafah crossing with Egypt expected to open as early as today, so the region will be flooded with emergency aid that it's clear it sorely needs. And, of course, President Trump coming here Monday morning to address the single-house Knesset, the Israeli parliament, an eagerly awaited speech from the U.S. president. Guys, back to you.
All right.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
One of the things that we'll be watching for is with the return of the hostages, in the past, we have seen these humiliating ceremonies that Hamas has put on as they have released the handful of hostages that they've released over the past 2 years. And if the world is spared that horrifying spectacle, that will be to me a good sign.
Yeah.
That was that was part of the agreement. Yeah. No more of that. I couldn't agree more. I just, in my mind, we've been able to interview so many of these hostages. Two of them in particular who came out. One was Ayer Horn and then Ileana Gretzky. Both of them, one of them is Argentine, the other is Mexican, both Israeli as well. And I've been following their stories. Ayer has his brother still in captivity. He's coming home. Wow. Ileana Gretzky's fiance is there. Mm-hmm. She actually staged a mock wedding to bring attention to him during this whole crisis. I can't wait to see all of these people reunited. It's going to be incredible.
And very emotional. With that, let's bring in Fox News Sunday anchor and Fox News chief legal correspondent Shannon Bream. And Shannon, we are hearing Wall Street Journal is just reporting that Hamas has notified Israel that they indeed do have 20 living hostages that they have assembled and could be possibly ready to release them as early as tonight, Sunday night. We've been hearing Monday all along. Now, Fox News has not independently confirmed that, but the Wall Street Journal is leading with it at this moment. And it's not only just this first confirmation that these actual 20 living hostages do indeed exist, but the thought that if they did release them, begin releasing them tonight, then presumably they would be freed ahead of President Trump's arrival in Israel tomorrow. Your thoughts?
And there's been some reporting that he may meet with them and, hear from them directly. I cannot imagine what these people have lived through for 2 years. They're going to need time to recover, to physically, mentally, to reconnect with their families. But man, I cannot imagine the overwhelming joy across Israel. You guys know, if you've lived and traveled and worked over there, it's a small country and they have felt this deeply. I mean, the percentage of people as part of their total population there who were harmed in some way or have now served. Everybody knows someone, everyone has a loved one. And so this is not just incredible relief for these families of these hostages. It really is more broadly the entire country. I think that will be jubilating and celebrating and this huge sigh of relief and wonderful confirmation that the 20 we thought were alive are still alive, it sounds like.
So that joy that you're talking about, Shannon, that overwhelming sense of relief that we're seeing on both sides. I don't know if you saw the images of the Gazans returning back, trying to see if they can find some semblance of their lives in the rubble. Everyone ecstatic, happy. They're dancing in the street in Tel Aviv, dancing in the street, on the Gazan side. And yet here we have Representative Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez and Rashida Tlaib, both people who said they were calling for ceasefire, wanting peace, wanting an end to the war. Crickets. I am calling them charlatans of peace because I can't believe there hasn't been one peep, one statement out of them yet. First of all, before I get your response, listen to them calling for a ceasefire in Gaza not too long ago.
Of the ceasefire resolution. This is not war. This is chaos. And we have a responsibility to uphold our standards and commitment to human rights.
We are calling for an end of this violence, not a break in the violence. The temporary pauses are not enough. We need a permanent ceasefire now. We need an end to the genocide.
Palestinian people, this is all for you.
Why isn't she doing that now?
It begs a really good question, because this is what I think all sides were agreeing they wanted to get to, the end of the destruction, the end of the violence, and, hopes for actual peace, release of these hostages, the beginning of rebuilding for the people of Gaza, where you talked about, this incredible devastation that's going to be part of the president's trip, then going on to Egypt and meeting with, the stakeholders there in the region about how they rebuild and give those people a hopeful life moving forward as well. So you'd think there's plenty to celebrate. Even many of the Democrats who have come out and celebrated this, we've all seen their statements. They didn't mention the words Donald Trump. And so there's a conversation to be had about the reaction. And, we should all be feeling joyful wherever you were on this, that the people of that region, the suffering, we hope is over.
Truly, truly. Back home here, our government remains shut down, obviously. And President Trump has directed that troops be paid throughout the government shutdown. I'm sure this is something that will be on tap for Fox News Sunday today. What do you make of all that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have got the two key players in the House. We've got the Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries. We've got the Speaker, Mike Johnson. They're both with us exclusively this morning to talk about Where are the off-ramps? How does this thing get done? So we really look forward to diving into that conversation about the troops, air traffic controllers, people who may lose their SNAP benefits. I mean, there's a lot to dig into here. We've also got an interview with the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Winsome Earl Sears. We invited her and her opponent, former Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger. The Lieutenant Governor accepted, so a conversation with her. And also I sat down with Justice Amy Coney Barrett to talk about her take on criticism of the courts and where we are in this country on having really tough conversations and political conversations.
Well, we will be watching that. That will be good stuff. I especially look forward to your conversation with the justice.
Yeah. I mean, her book is very fascinating. I would say to people who wonder how the inner workings of the court work, she gets into a lot of detail that I think is very interesting. If you have questions about why they do and don't do things, you might get some answers in that book.
Wow, for a Supreme Court justice nerd like you, this is going to be amazing.
Exactly. It's my Super Bowl. What can I say?
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to her bringing Jeffries and Johnson together. You might get the government open by the end of the show.
Listen, we aim to get things done here in Washington for the people of America. And so if those two want to reach an agreement on this show, we welcome it.
If anybody can get it done, Shannon Bream can get it done. Shannon, thank you. Have a great show.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.